El Salvador is the next one. However, before we get into that, there's a little bit of housekeeping left over from Ecuador, the last section. Turns out that omitted reference to a couple of coins privately minted in the U.S. in 1990, during that gap between 1918 and 1928 of Ecuador. There's a 5 centavos, and there was a 10 centavos. It was just that one single year, and there they are. Okay, enough of that. We now go to Ecuador. Well, when we started making coins for Ecuador, the first coin we actually made for them was a full peso. This is the greatest specimen, but as you can see, this was what we made. San Francisco made these 1 peso coins. Now, as it happens, this and some of the other years of this, by the way, were made not only in the U.S. mints, but in some of the foreign mints. But there's an easy way to tell if they're U.S. made or foreign made. Now, here's a pair of 1904 pesos. Now, the most obvious giveaway is to look at the bottom of the portrait. See how neatly centered it is in the curve of the un-peso. The distance between the U and the bottom there is the same as the distance from the top of the O in the bottom. In the U.S. version, for some strange reason, it's very close to the UN, but just as far as the other one would have been from the O. So if it's really close to UN like that, that signals an American mint striking. And if it's symmetrically, if it's far on that side as on the other side, or just about, that is a foreign minting. So that's how we will know that. So, anyway, this was 1904. Then after that, we made some more of these in 1909. And then 1911, both Philadelphia and San Francisco made this coin. And once again, there's no easy way, there's no way to tell one mint from the other. Finally, 1914, we had a full slew of all these denominations. You have a 5 centavos. Okay, we have a 10 centavos. We have a 25, that is 25 centavos. And of course, we had the peso for that year. Yeah, look at that, beautiful cartwheeling there. Okay. Of course, also in 1914, we made proofs, about 20 of each of these 4 coins. Obviously, I don't have any of those. They'd be too rare and valuable. However, that was the end of using silver for their coins. Apparently, they were going through a devaluation. The very next year, 1915, well, the 1 cent, it could have been this way before, we don't know. They have a 3 cent denomination, which we only make for them in this one single year, 1915. Okay. Now, where in 1914, the 5 cent was silver, now in 1915, this rather low-grade specimen demonstrates that their 5 cent is now to be a copper-nickel coin. Okay. There's 1916, also not a terribly... Unfortunately, I don't have as good a grade for a lot of these. Some of the others. Okay. 1917. Okay, 1918. Now, 1919. Here's another 1 cent. Actually a fairly nice one. You can see the little edges inside the 1. And then again, there's a 5 cent. Okay. And then 1920, they made a 1 cent. And a 5 cent. Wow, here we go. We have some that are fairly nice. Wow, even in those days, it's still 1920. You still got that same striation. It seems to be very common in a lot of the copper nickel coins we made for Latin America, Central and South America. Now, 21. Again, there's a 5 cent. And a 10 cent. Then there's a skip to 1925. Now there was a 1 cent. I don't have that. That's one of 4 El Salvadorian coins the U.S. Mint made that we don't have. However, there's a reasonable 5 cent and a reasonable 10 cent. Well, sort of reasonable. There was also a 1 cent made in 1926, which I don't have, and so I can't even represent the year. In 1928, we made a 1 cent. This is fortunately a very nice specimen. It is also interesting in being the 1 coin we made for El Salvador that bears a U.S. Mint mark. And there it is, S for San Francisco. Apparently, they come in several different sizes. This, I think, is the larger S. But at any rate, it's very clear and easy to see. So, it's S for San Francisco. And then, all the way up until 1936, we once again made another 1 cent piece for El Salvador. And that's what I have for the first half of El Salvador, part 1. We see a lot of interesting things happen, especially the devaluation between 1914 and 1915. The different kinds of places that made the 1 peso coin. And those are very old coins. So, that'll be for that. Next will be part 2.